Welcome back to PR After Hours. I'm your host, Alex Greenwood, bringing you your weekly cocktail of PR and marketing tips that will help you and your business. Stick around, we'll get started right after these messages. Hello, listeners. It's me, Alex, from PR After Hours. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. And I wanted to talk to you just for a moment about the way I get this show right into your earbuds every week. It's because I use Anchor FM. Now, I've told you previously that I've been podcasting since 2006, back when we used stone knives and bear skins and a couple of Dixie cups and string. Anchor FM has really streamlined this and made it simpler for people who don't know the first thing about setting up a podcast or don't have, time to learn all the pro tools and stuff, because it's all right here. First thing it's important to know is it's free. There are certain tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. That's huge. Distribution is a big pain in the butt, to be honest with you, so it's really great Anchor FM can do that for you, and you're not paying hosting fees. That adds up every month. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place, so download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started, and be sure to join me in the virtual cocktail lounge on PR After Hours. Join me for a crisis communication coffee webinar March 5th, 2021 on Zoom. Really simple. Join me and we'll learn why every size enterprise must have a crisis communication plan. It's really going to be a good, juicy introduction here, folks, because if you're a small business person, we'll demonstrate why you need a plan and how to get it started. Hey, if you're on staff somewhere, you're a PR, HR, or marketing pro, we'll help you make the case with the folks upstairs for why you need to invest time and budget to create a viable crisis comm plan. Everybody who signs up gets a free cup of coffee. It's done on Zoom. It's about 90 minutes. A great presentation, followed by questions and answers. We'll talk about why plan, some innovative ideas, and how to manage your plan. Check the show notes to register. It's only $35. And again, you'll get a Starbucks gift card. And also, here's a little secret. If you use the discount code podcast, you'll save $10. March 5th, Crisis Communication Webinar. Hope to see you then. Freedom is the ability to do what you want, when you want, and to live the life you want. That's a pretty deep thought from Purdeep Sangha, who is our guest today. And I'm excited because he's an internationally acclaimed personal advisor and coach to high-performing executives and entrepreneurs. He teaches men how to become the complete man, a man who achieves ultimate performance, fulfillment, and victory in every area of his life. He shows men how to live at their highest potential and be the best possible business leader, husband, father, and man that they can be. From the very first moment he started managing employees at the age of 16, he was fascinated with business growth and leadership. Purdeep has spent his entire career solving complex problems and enhancing results for businesses and the lives of men. And I cannot be more excited to welcome him here to the virtual lounge. Purdeep Sangha, welcome to the virtual lounge here at PR After Hours.
Hey, Alex, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You know what? I get a lot of books. A lot of publicists send me books and authors send me books. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a busy guy, just like you. And I record several interviews a week. And by the way, this is not like I'm some really important media figure here, but I get a lot of books and it's impossible to read them all, right? I got into yours though, because I want to at least, get a flavor for it, right? Couldn't stop turning the pages. Love it.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That just makes my day.
Okay. Well, you made mine because this is there's a lot of books out there that want to help you get to be your best self. But I'm fascinated by your concept of the complete man. And of course, since I've read it, I know where you're going to go with this, but I'm just curious. What's the genesis of the complete man and how you started?
Yeah, well, the genesis is really a man who is complete from within and the best version of himself and truly proud of who he is in his inner core. And I think that is the most important thing, especially in today's age where we're chasing the dollar, we're chasing the fame, and a lot of stuff that we see on social media, for example, or keeping up with the Joneses, is that if we feel fulfilled with who we are as a man or as an individual, it really doesn't matter what we have on the outside. In fact, when we feel fulfilled from within and complete from within, a lot of the externals that we want actually start getting attracted to us, and we start being able to, you can say, make that happen a lot faster and a lot easier. And so it's that the concept of getting out of your own way to get what you really want out of life. And the premise of this book is literally decades in the making of me studying men in particular, how men operated, or how men operate, how relationships operate, how men operate in society, what makes men really fulfilled within life. And it really started with my dad, I would say, because my dad was a business owner. He came from India with next to nothing and built a successful business, raised a happy family, but he struggled. He struggled with alcoholism, and he was never really fulfilled in life. And I could see that. And he died at, you've read the book, his goal was to hit 65, and he worked his butt off and that was his moment to say, I did it. But he died of a sudden heart attack at 64 and a half. And this isn't something new. This is what I see many men face. And I would say from my personal experience, because I work with many men, is that 8 out of 10 men are living this way in some way, shape, or form. So this book is really to give them some insight in how to live a complete life, how to be really fulfilled at the end of the day. Because essentially, here's what we want as men. And I'll kind of sum it up. We want to perform at our best, right? Because
Hmm.
and we perform at our best because we want to achieve something, whether that's a goal or an aspiration or a dream of some sort. But what ends up happening is a lot of us forget the last component, which is the fulfillment. And we'll go into this cycle of performing, achieving, and then back into performing and achieving without actually being fulfilled and experiencing the joy that we really want. And this book is to help guys really do that.
You'd think that at this stage of our development as a species, and this is just a wild assumption, but I would just think that men would be more actualized in this area. But actually, it seems like it's becoming tougher
Mm.
the way things are now. You talk a little bit about the science behind being a man. Maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit, and how perhaps, yes, there are a lot of opportunities for men, and it's certainly, there are definitely accepting parts of manhood in the world we live in today, but there's also intense pressures.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of pressures as men, especially now, because a lot of men, as from a societal perspective, are being told that it's not good to be a man. It's not good to be too masculine, for example, or men shouldn't be leaders of the family and stuff like that, which is really confusing men because we have it built inside of us neurobiologically to lead. If you take a look at a lot of the explorers, a lot of the extreme sports that happen, inventions, a lot of that is done by men. Not that when women can't do it, there's a lot of women that do it and do it well these days, but they don't have that same drive. They don't have that same desire to problem solve and venture into new areas like men do. And there's a evolution has showed this throughout the way that we are designed in a particular way, especially to be leaders. And so when men aren't leaders in a lot of aspects, whether that's in their relationship or at work or whatever it is, and we feel like we're being confined, and that's why I have that statement in terms of what men really want is to live the life based on their terms, right? The freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want is basically how men are programmed to be. But we aren't able to do that a lot of times, and especially now because we're being told by others that we should live a certain way. And this has been around for centuries where, we're told that, this is the ideal life for you, which in more important terms, I would say for men, is to find what makes you happy, what
Hmm.
makes you fulfilled in life. And even with my book or my teaching, I tell people, don't follow what I say if it's not helping you, if it doesn't feel natural to you, if it doesn't feel like it's actually helping you be fulfilled, because every single man is different in some way, shape, or form.
Now, Pradeep, I'm going to tell you right now, I've got some very devout listeners who happen to be female, and they may hear what you just said and hear. Wait a minute, wait a minute. He said, "Oh, some of us can do this," but are you talking about a philosophy where there are definite roles for each sex, and that you can't get out of those lanes, or am I oversimplifying here?
No, no, I think what we've gone to is a society where we said gender roles are bad. And that isn't necessarily the case. In fact, gender roles are good for society if it works. You know, if you're a couple out there, you're with a partner and you've both decided that, hey, look, I'm better at this, or my interests are this, and you take the other elements because you're good at that, or that's your interest, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. And just, I use the examples in my book. I wash dishes, I cook, I clean just like my wife does. But my wife knows that when she's around and she has the time to do it, that's her responsibility. Whereas I'm outside doing more of the physical labor stuff out there. And we've come to an agreement on that, and it works well for us. I come from a background of a traditional background of from an Indian faith, you can say. Sikh is our religious background, and Sikhism is interesting. The main religions that talks about equality between men and women very fiercely, actually. But they don't talk about gender roles because or gender being neutral, because we know there is a difference between men and women. We are built differently. And I talk about this in the book in terms of the biology behind it. So it's not to say that men and women are not equal. We're just better at certain things. We have different interests. And women, honestly, I'm a huge promoter of women in leadership, for example, or women doing things that traditionally men are doing. But my whole point is that traditional gender roles are not bad. They're not a bad thing, because I see a lot of women being afraid to be women. I see a lot of women that would want to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom, but there's a pressure on them because there's a lot of women out there that say, well, you just want to be a stay-at-home mom? Is that all you want to do? Don't you want to have a career of your own? And that's the pressure that a lot of women are facing these days.
As if being a staying-home mother is like easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the most insulting thing you can say. I mean, really, particularly now in lockdown, you know, when you see, I keep hearing this, that even if the mother or the woman is, even if she is the primary breadwinner, she seems to, there's a survey, is still the one who is helping teach the child, doing the school stuff. The
Yeah.
male isn't. And, you know, I like this because my relationship with my wife is such that she's corporate. She works corporate. She does that. She's very successful. I'm more entrepreneurial. I have several small businesses. I'm kind of, you know, I'm kind of just not quite. It's not that I'm not, you know, it's not that I'm not, you know, a typical man in so many ways, but I've done what I think you're talking about, which is I'm better at this and she's way better at that. I mean, I could not probably work in the corporate realm the way she does. It's just, I'm not wired that way. And she for a brief time in between jobs a few years ago, worked for my little consulting agency. And she said it was really fun for like 9 months. But she said, there's no way in hell I'm going to do this the rest of my life. I can't possibly. It's too uncertain for me. So I think it's interesting too, because when I was reading it, I was concerned, Purdeep. I was like, oh gosh, I hope this is not a tome that's saying, you know, men, you know, we bring home the beast, the woman cooks the beast, and you do all the cooking and the cleaning and all that. You know, it's not that at all. And I just want to be, I know I'm kind of pounding that rock a little bit, but I want to make sure that our listeners are clear that that's not the direction you're talking about here. You're just establishing that there are roles and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second part is that there's nothing wrong with that either, what you just said. If you're in a relationship where it works for you, where the man feels like he has to be the breadwinner, and if both parties are in agreement with that, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's one of the most important things, because one of the things that we've noticed here for our business is that half of our referrals actually come from women. And I've so far, half of the readers that we've heard from are women. And they're saying thank you because they have a different appreciation for the men in their lives. And they understand now where some of the challenges in the relationship have been, where when, for example, a lot of women reach out and said, you know what, in a way, I've kind of defeated my relationship because they've tried to take that leadership role away from the man in their life. And so this is a huge waking call for a lot of people to say, you know, everybody has a different balance and energies, what I talk about in the book, which is masculine and feminine energy. You have to find that balance that works within your relationship, but more importantly, within you as an individual, because I am both, you know, I have a lot of feminine energy in me. I grew up in a very, you can say, a feminine household in a certain respect, but my masculine is a driving force. And I know that. And I know when I'm out of balance with that. And so that doesn't feel natural to me. And so I'm a leader by that means in a lot of different ways, in my relationship, in my business, and in other areas. And when I am able to flex my feminine energy in the right situation, and I think that's the most important thing for people to understand, is it's all situational, and you have to find what works for you in the different situations.
You talk about leadership. You talk about this in the book about becoming a mindful alpha male leader. What? Okay, I got to tell you, Freddie, these are like, to some people, alpha male is like a loaded term. So I got to have you weigh in on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So alpha male has been misconstrued over the years, and it's been mainly by society, right? We take a look at, when I talk about alpha male, a lot of people go to the wolf pack. That's their immediate thing, the alpha male of a wolf pack, and it seems very, mean and dominant and fierce. That's not necessarily what alpha is. If you take a look at alpha, it's the first letter of the Greek alphabet, for example, and it means beginning. It means origin, and what that really means is, for men, if you are the alpha male, you are the creator of your life, which means that you're not going by the circumstances that are given to you. And I see a lot of that because a lot of people will complain, but they're not taking charge of their life. They're not creating their life. But let's not, and then as an alpha male, one of the main roles is to also take care of your pack, the people that are within your, you can say, domain, your tribe, whatever it is. I refer to it as a pride in my book. But whoever is part of your family or your inner circle, as an alpha male, it's your responsibility to take care of each person and the group as a whole. And so you almost put yourself behind, your needs behind the needs of your group. That's really what alpha male means. And there's a level of dominance to that as well, because that also means you have to make tough decisions. And there's times when people don't know what their role is within the pack, and you have to have those conversations with them. And sometimes you may even have to make the decision to say, is this person the right fit in terms of our social circle? Because they may not be behaving in a way that's conducive to everybody. They might be hurting everybody. And so these are all elements of being an alpha male. But there's the other side to it, because what we've seen now is a lot of traditional alpha males where it's take charge, be dominant, get the job done. But there's a mindful element to it, which means that you have to be aware of your actions and the ripple effect of your actions. And this is it's based on a principle of an old Buddhist proverb, for example, where they talk about, every decision that you make, you should be thinking that it's going to impact the universe. There's going to be a ripple effect through the universe. But you also have to laugh at yourself and actually, come to terms that there may not be any impact at all, right? So make your decisions based on, it's going to impact a lot of people, and what is that impact going to be? But also laugh at yourself that, it might not affect anybody at all. So that's the mindful aspect of it, is we have to be aware of how we're impacting ourselves, our family members, the people around us, and the long-lasting impact on society throughout time.
You also talk about how you can greatly enhance your performance without working yourself to death. I mean, is there something to that?
Wow, there's a whole lot to that. I could, talk about that for hours. But there is a formula for it. There's a neuroscience behind it. There's a lot of studies that have come out about it now, and there's actually we're actually embarking on a 3-month project right now with my team to really put together a step-by-step guide for people to really perform at their peak level. And there is, because, for example, every person has a natural time throughout their day that they have higher levels of energy. Some people, it's in
Yeah.
the morning. Some people, it's at night. I can't stay up past a certain time. No, thank you. My peak performance time is in the morning. So I structure my days to perform better in the morning, knowing that in the evening, my energy levels are going to be lower. There's also things like, you have to put yourself in the right mindset, be able to focus. And you also have to be able to remove distractions. There's a step-by-step formula that we're putting together actually more cohesively to really share that with people, because yes, there is a lot behind it. And what it ultimately does is it allows you to get more done within a shorter time frame. And that's so you can get 8 hours of work done within 3 hours if you really get into what people call it the zone or
Yeah.
flow state. That's really what we're talking about here. And this is something that I studied back when I was in high school, and I kind of tripped upon it. And I was able to literally memorize, for example, a 500-page textbook and go into a test and score 100% without even really studying, because I learned these tactics and techniques when I was a younger age. A simple thing, and I'll just give a simple tip here that everybody I think can benefit from, is the art of focus, because we are so distracted right now by technology, by emails, all this kind of stuff, and it impacts your performance significantly. So one of the things to improve your performance is literally shut everything else off except for the one thing that you are doing. That will greatly enhance your performance, your memory, your creativity, all of these aspects that allow you to get greater productivity in your life. Because right now we have a lot of people that are working more hours and trying to get more done, and it doesn't work. There's a lot of research behind it. You're just spending more time at work rather than enjoying your life.
Can I? I'll just ask you from
Sure.
personal side. This happened to me just today. I was talking to. Now I am a consultant, but I also do some work for other agencies. And I was talking to the leader of this other agency today, and she was inquiring how I was doing and all that. And right now I'm helping with a lot of content creation, a lot of writing. Now I'm that's what I do. I'm a very good writer. Been doing writing for 30 years. It's no big deal. But I told her, I said, it's some very technical stuff I'm having to learn as I go, right? And make it, and do as I say, make it sing, make the writing sing about something that I don't know much about, right? And I said to her, I'm having some struggle. She says, well, tell me about it. I said, I've got about 4 good hours a day of writing in me. And then it just seems like I am just spinning my wheels. Well, here, I'll say it. It's crap after about 4 hours, right? So I wonder if that's kind of what you're talking about here, is that, and I'm 52. Okay. I know you're looking at me going, really? That guy?
Looking
But I was
pretty
like,
darn good, man.
oh, thank you very much. I always fish for compliments. You know that, folks. Anyway, no, but I'm 52, and I have just noticed that even with 8, 9 hours of solid sleep, eating right, working out, my mental focus for writing, at least, and doing a good job, is about 4 hours a day. Now, I can do admin for a couple hours and do like stuff like that. Is that kind of what we're talking about here? And the part two to that question is, does it change as we age, as far as you're concerned, how you approach it?
Yeah, because what we're taking a look at is a number of different elements. One is the ability, your cognitive ability and energy. Those are two different aspects, right? And your energy, there's different levels of energy. There's your cognitive energy, there's your emotional energy, and then there's your physical energy of your body, right? And so with age, I'll answer the second one first. Your physical energy may be depleted over because your body ages, right? And
Right.
so that is one of the things. The other thing is they actually show from part of your brain structure actually changes as you age as well. So your cognitive, you can say, flexibility actually declines over age. But if you keep yourself up and continue to learn, you actually slow that down quite a bit. But you're absolutely right, because everything that we do consumes energy. And having optimal energy is where you perform at your best. And we're talking about physical energy, emotional energy, and cognitive energy, those three levels. And there's a fourth one where we call spiritual energy as well. But if you take a look at those, yes, your brain consumes 20% of your daily calories. So by the time 4 hours is done, your brain is saying, okay, I'm tapping out here. Like, you can push
Yeah.
me and I'll get stuff done, but I'm not as engaged. I'm not producing the same neurotransmitters as it normally does at peak performance levels. And so it is the best time to say, now it's time to pull back. In fact, there's different studies that show peak performance is you work for 20, 25 minutes, and then you take 5 to 15 minutes off. And then you do that for 3 or 4 hours. And then you kind of call it quits for the day. And that is ideal, I would say. Some of the things that, if you want to perform better, that's the way to take a look at it, because a lot of people are talking about quantity. And here's the difference too: quantity of work versus quality of work. Those are different things. A lot of people are just producing a lot of stuff, but it doesn't have the quantity, or sorry, it doesn't have the quality that is needed to actually get the outcomes that you're looking for. And so this is very important what you talked about. So going back to, your 4 hours, that's when you say, I'm actually going to take this time now to recharge. So for some people, recharging is spending time with their family, going for walks, maybe it's exercising. I enjoy reading, for example. So I'll just sit back with a book and just make some notes. That's my recharge time. or meditation. That's an easy way to recharge, or mindfulness practices. But yes, long story short, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Pretty, because I have well, I use Harvest as a time tracker for my clients, but I also plug in what I do. And so I panicked the first month I had it, because I looked at it and it didn't look like I was putting in a full day of work. If that does that make sense to you?
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
mean, and I didn't put in everything I did. Like, I didn't put in like my lunchtime and taking breaks and stuff like that. But I was panicking because I'm still making a great living, everything's going all right. But it looked like on average I was only working 5-6 hours a day. But then I had this cognitive dissonance, because I went, wait, I'm still making a living here and people still hire me. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
anyway, so I
It's
guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that it's what you're saying is, you can work yourself to death, and you can stick to, and of course I'm blessed and I'm not having to be at a factory or something like that. I
mhm.
mean, I work at a desk at home, but I think you could work yourself to death, and as you said, it's the diminishing returns for me after about 4 to 6 hours tops, that it's just diminishing returns. So I guess I just give you that example because it seems to verify, at least on my level, what you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And the science has shown this. This isn't something that is just based on psychology. This is a neuroscience that they've actually started. It actually started coming out about 10 years ago, where they're starting to confirm when it comes to productivity, performance, because they're able to strap you up to an EEG machine, for example, and see where your brain waves are at. So this is definitely the case.
Well, Purdeep, in the minutes we have left here, and I could talk to you for hours because this is such a great book, and I have barely scratched the surface. There's a section that I marked here, though, um, talking about how you are marketing yourself.
Hmm.
And you go through, as a businessman, you're constantly marketing yourself, so you need to be great at it. And this will assume you're enjoying this appearing here, but I'd love to have you back to talk about just this section about, talking about authority and how systems sell and bring uniqueness and combine skills. There's so many great lessons that can be learned in this book. Um, Tell us, though, since in our moments that are less here, what is it that you're doing? Are you coaching folks? What do you have to offer that the listeners might want to contact you about?
Yeah, so we have two arms to our business. One is the consulting side, and we have a team that goes out and we consult on marketing or operations, team performance, for example. That's one of our areas. And my personal, what I do is the coaching side. So I work specifically with men in executive roles, CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, someone that might have a brokerage, mortgage brokerage agency, or real estate agency, and I work with them specifically. I'll also do a lot of the consulting work if it's within my expertise, but I work with men who really want to, you can say, experience having it all in life, because a lot of guys will sacrifice their personal life for their business side, and it's all intertwined.
Right.
Because if you're performing better on the personal side, your business is going to be better, and if your business is better, you're going to have a better personal life. So they're all intertwined. So definitely, I'm super excited because we took last year out to write the book, and this year is really focusing on more exposure of the book as well, but also going out there. I haven't personally taken on or started any group coachings for about a year and a half, 2 years almost, but we're firing that up this year again. So I'm excited about that personally.
Now, do they go to completemanbook.com for more information on how to get the book?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you like the physical book, go to completemanbook.com. For your listeners, they can also go to completemanaudio.com and use a promo code Victory75, and you can get 75% off the audio book. So I'll repeat that again. It's completemanaudio.com, and the promo code is Victory75, all one word. So it's the number 75 at the end, and you'll get 75% off.
That is fantastic. Have I heard you on some podcasts? I think I have.
Yeah, actually, I've been on a number of podcasts. Yes.
So I think if you want to hear more, I did. I listened to a couple. I watched a couple actually, and they were really interesting. And folks, I think you're going to find them, as you did today, I'm sure, very engaging and open and accessible. And the book, and that also is the book. That is how the book is. It's The Complete Man: Achieve Ultimate Performance, Fulfillment, and Victory. in every area of your life. The author is Purdeep Sangha. He is a great guy. And sir, I really appreciate you joining us here in the virtual lounge.
Thank you, Alex. This was a blast.
Oh, you know what that means? Looks like it's last call here at your virtual lounge for PR news, views, and interviews. Don't forget, you can ask me a question anytime. You can do it through our Twitter account, which is @HoursPR, or even better, you can send me a message vocally. I would love to hear your voice, and I'll answer it on the show. There's a link in the show notes. All you have to do is sign up through Anchor FM. It's free, doesn't take long. And you record your message, I get the message, I will play your audio, just give me your first name and the city you live in, and then I will answer the question to the best of my ability right here on the show. Don't forget to, if you're enjoying this podcast, you can support it and help increase the frequency and value of the show. Just consider being a sponsor for your brand or your agency or just yourself because you're like, I like this show. Or just drop a few coins in the virtual tip jar. Either way, there's links in the show notes. Please check that out. All of that, of course, being in the show notes where you're listening right now or at prafterhours.com. I see that they're turning up the lights. Last call is over, and I've got to clean up this virtual lounge. And until next time, I'm Alex Greenwood, and you've been listening to PR After Hours on Anchor FM.